Nashville, like most cities in the country, has seen a tremendous evolution in its restaurant scene. And in the area within the confines of what's known as Midtown Green Hills, that change is a microcosm for the rest of the city. For a long time, going back 50 years, a lot of wealthy folks on the west side of town used to chirp that the only two places you could get a good meal were Jimmy Kelly's and the Belmead Country Club. Which is ridiculous, of course, not because the food at those establishments wasn't any good, but because it ignored a vast array of places that did offer good, very good cooking. But in the early 60s, restaurants and what people thought of them were a long way away from where we are today. Let's look at what dining has meant to the Green Hills Midtown area for the last 50 years. First up, Nero's Cactus Canyon in Green Hills. It was famous for serving wild game and a white bean soup and hot water corn cakes that had mythical curative powers. Owner Nelson Nero Griswold was a colorful character and a master marketer. When he retired, Green Hills Grill took over the spot and had a very successful run until their lease expired. Now the next generation of Griswolds has stepped up and reimagined a new Nero's, and yes, you can still get those corn cakes. Other Green Hills favorites, now gone, included Zager's Deli and Shakey's Pizza. If you didn't know better, heading down Harding Road, or know the right person, Jimmy Kelly's was just a quiet little steakhouse in an old home in what is now a gas station near St. Thomas Hospital. It opened in 1934, right after the repeal of Prohibition, but before 1967, when liquor by the drink was finally passed by the young Metro Council. That's why insiders knew the action was in the basement of Kelly's, where it remained decorated in speakeasy fashion until the building was torn down. Thankfully, like Nero's, it too reopened under family tutelage and continues to operate near Vanderbilt. Still serving great steaks, still serving corn cakes, like Nero's as well. In Hillsborough Village, you kind of had one choice to eat, and that was breakfast and lunch at the Pancake Pantry, run by the Baldwin family. In 1990, Randy Rayburn opened the now iconic Sunset Grill. Rayburn has since added Cabana next to what was Faison's and took over the Midtown Grill in, well, Midtown. Add the Bongo Java empire of Bob Bernstein, which he started on Belmont Boulevard and then expanded to Hillsborough Village and beyond, and the artisanal breads of Provence, and the village began to reflect a culinary landscape that was more representative of what was happening across the country. In Midtown, it was in fact the restaurant, and a nod to Atlanta, I suppose, that gave the strip between I-40 and Vanderbilt its Midtown name. Today, the Adelicia luxury high-rise dominates the landscape, but it was home to some of the more famous and infamous eateries in town. Long gone and erased by many memories was Melfi's. Owner Vito Melfi, part of the community that included the Viettis and Varallos, that all hailed from the same part of Italy and thought that what Nashville needed at the turn of the century was chili parlors. Vito Melfi took it a step beyond and claimed to have introduced Nashville to a new kind of pie, pizza pie. Across the street from where Melfi's stood was the Rock and Roll Hotel, later replaced by Third Coast, and then the Boundary. If those walls talked, boy, some folks would be blushing now. Around the corner was another Italian eatery, built on bravado, hubris, and showmanship, Mario's Ristorante. It even had an Italian name. Opened by Mario Ferrari, it was Nashville's introduction to more Eurocentric fine dining. In fact, it defined expense account entertainment and logged just about every celebrity and captain of industry in town in its guest book. After a long history and then fading interest as dining tastes became more sophisticated, it and the world-class wine cellar it claimed were taken by fire.